Welcome back to Reshaped by Loss. My name is Crystal, and I'm so grateful you're here. As we continue season 2, we're still sitting in the theme of abide. And today I want to talk about something that I've wrestled with personally, and that's time. Not the kind of time that we measure with clocks and calendars. I'm talking about God's timing. Because if we're honest, one of the hardest part of grief is not just the loss itself, it's waiting. Waiting for understanding, waiting for healing, waiting for answers, waiting for life to feel different than it does right now. And maybe you've been there too. Maybe you found yourself asking questions like, how long will this hurt? When will things when will they start making sense? Why does it seem like everyone else is moving forward while I'm still struggling? I think most of us have asked those questions one point or another. I know I have. When I look back over my life, I realize there were seasons where I thought I knew exactly where God was leading me. I had plans, I had expectations, I had timelines. And then life happened. Loss happened. And suddenly the road I thought I was traveling looked completely different. Have you ever noticed God doesn't always take us the route we would choose for ourselves? I get to thinking about the Israelites. God could have led them to the shortest route to the promised land, but he didn't. He could have led them another way, right? Not because he was punishing them, and not because he forgot about them, but because he knew what they needed. And honestly, that's hard for us sometimes, because we love shortcuts. I know I do. We love quick fixes. We love arriving. But God is often doing something in the journey. And I wonder how many times in grief we spend so much energy asking God to change our circumstances that we miss what he's trying to grow within us. Not because the pain is good, not because the loss was necessary, but because God is still God in the middle of it. And he is still working, even when we can't see it, even when we don't understand it, and even when nothing feels like it's changing. One of my favorite verses is Proverbs 3:5-6, and it reads, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight." Notice it doesn't say we'll always understand the path. It says trust him on it. And if I'm honest, that's where abiding becomes difficult. Because abiding means remaining with God before we have the answers. It means trusting him before we can see the outcome. It means believing he's leading us even when the road feels unfamiliar. I've often wondered if some of the greatest work God does in us happens while we're waiting. Not when we've arrived, not when everything makes sense, but while we're learning to trust Him one day at a time. Because waiting has a way of revealing what's in our hearts. It reveals our fears, our doubts, our need for control, and it also reveals our need for God. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." Not those who rush ahead, not those who have all the answers, those who wait, those who remain, those who abide. And maybe that's the invitation today. Maybe God is asking us to trust that He knows what we need, even when we don't understand the route. To trust that He sees what we cannot see. To trust that He is not absent in the waiting. And to trust that even now He is working. Because I've learned something through grief. Healing does not always happen on my timeline. Growth doesn't always happen on my timeline. And sometimes God's greatest gifts aren't found in arriving quickly. Sometimes they're found in becoming. And that's why I keep coming back to this truth. I keep coming back to, as God grows in us, we will be changed. Believe me, it won't happen overnight, not all at once, but it will, little by little, day by day, especially as we continue to abide. If this episode spoke to you, don't forget to follow and subscribe so you can stay connected with future conversations and encouragement from Reshaped by Loss. And as always, take what spoke to you and leave the rest. Be gentle with yourself. And remember, as God grows in us, we will be changed. Shalom, shalom.